Diamond here with Candlelit Concepts. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I make Fruit Loop cereal bowl bath bombs. I start by gathering all the materials I'm going to need for today's project. And then when I'm ready to start, I do actually start by making the embeds first. That way they have time to harden while I'm getting my bath bomb mixture ready. So I have already cut up 3 ounces of melt and pour soap, and I have divvied those out into 6 different melting pots. I'm going to melt them all at the same time on this griddle back here, and then individually I'll add the mica powder into each one and start pouring into our Fruit Loop silicone mold here. So I'm going to get these heated up and I will be right back. So while our soap is melting, I am going to start measuring out and sifting our powdered ingredients for the bath bomb mixture. I'm going to start with 33 ounces of baking soda, We sift all the powdered ingredients because of this reason. If we don't sift, we end up with a lot of clumped together product, which makes for a really rough bath bomb when you go to trying to press your bomb. And we had a little bit of overage, so I'm just going to scoop that out. Now I'm going to be moving on to the kaolin clay. This is the product that I use in order to harden my bath bombs. Some people tend to use like cornstarch, something like that. I tend to go the kaolin clay route because I generally end up with a harder bath bomb, but this is a good product for your skin as well. It is a little more expensive than like cornstarch, but I feel like it's well worth the extra money. And I'm doing 1 ounce of this kaolin clay. All right, and then the next product that I'm choosing to put into my mixture is SLSA. I typically like to put this product in because I like a little bath, like bubble bath with my bath bombs, and this product is great for giving your bath bomb that extra little bit of bubble. Do 1 ounce of the SLSA per batch. Okay, so in this bowl, we just have those three products: baking soda, the kaolin clay, and the SLSA. Then in a new bowl, we will measure out our citric acid. The reason why we're doing a new bowl is because our citric acid will go into the mix at the very, very end. And I'm going to do 17 ounces of citric acid. Did go a little over, so I'm just going to scoop out the excess. And all of our powdered ingredients have now been measured out. I did already measure out my liquid ingredients as well. In this container, I've got 0.50 ounce of coconut oil. I also have 0.50 ounce of my fragrance, which is Fruit Loops. And then in a separate container, I have 0.50 of water. I typically put these in separate containers until the very end, and then I'll mix the water into the oil and stir it. The reason I like mixing the water into the oil is because the oil kind of creates like this shield around the water. If I were to pour just the water into my powdered mixture in my mixing bowl, it would immediately start to activate the baking soda. But by pouring it into the fragrance oil and the coconut oil, it kind of creates a shield around it. So when I pour my entire mixture into the powder, it doesn't start to activate any of it. So that's the reason why I do that. I will be back. Alright, so while we were getting our bath bomb powders together, our soap has completely melted. So we're going to start by taking one of the melting pots off of the griddle, and we're going to add mica powder to the melt and pour soap mixture. And you can add as much or as little as you want into your mixture. It's completely preference, you know, whatever your preference is. I am using a clear melt and pour soap so that my colors don't get muted by a white base. So I tend to get colors that pop by using the clear base. And I'm pretty happy with that yellow, so I'm going to go ahead and start pouring. I can hear my husband cutting something with the saw out there in his workshop. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I sure can. Yellow has been poured. We're going to move on to the next color, which we're going to do orange. Give this a good mix until we're happy with the color. not done with orange. We're gonna move on to green. I am gonna shift this a little bit though so that we can get this in camera's view. There we go. Same thing, we're going to add mica to the melt and pour soap. These poured into the molds. It's okay if you have a little bit of spilling. At the end, once they've hardened, it just peels right off. It doesn't affect the shape of the embed, so don't let that worry you. So we'll get the green mica powder put away. Moving on to blue. It's a very pretty blue too. Move on to purple. We have 2 colors left. We have purple and red. last but certainly not least, we have our red. I'm going to add just a little bit more. I want to make sure that it comes out red and not pink. Oops, got a little more in that one. We're going to let these harden and we will move on to making the bath bombs once they're done. Now that our Fruit Loop cereal soap embeds are done, we're going to start by making our bath bombs. And the way that we do this is we're going to pour all of our powders that we pre-measured. We're going to start with the baking soda, the kaolin clay, and the SLSA mixture. We're going to put this in our KitchenAid. And before I turn it on, we had already previously mixed or measured out our coconut oil, our fragrance oil and then our water. But remember how I mentioned I don't mix the water in until the end, until I'm like ready to put it into the bath bomb mixture. So that's where we're at. I added my water, and then I am going to stir this really, really well before adding it into our powder. I'm going to turn the mixer on low and just gently pour this in. I'm looking for kind of a wet sand consistency. Going to scrape the edges in the bottom of my mixing bowl to make sure that everything's evenly mixed. And then whenever you feel like this mixture is blended, then you can go ahead and take your citric acid and add that in. Thing, I'm going to scrape the edges of my mixing bowl. And when you grab a little bit of the mix and you press it in your hand, it should form. If it doesn't, you probably don't have enough liquid. You want to be careful that you don't put too much liquid, because too much liquid will cause the bath bomb to swell during the drying process. So I'm going to go ahead and take this mixture and transfer it into a bigger bowl. Alright, and then I have these little 3-ounce plastic bowls that I bought on Amazon that I'm going to be putting the bath bomb mixture in. And before I press down too hard on it, I'm going to want to put the little embeds that we made. And I'm going to do one of each color. And then I'm going to give this a gentle press. I want to press hard enough to where the embeds are going to stay in and not fall out, but you don't want to press too hard where you end up breaking the container. So just nice gentle pressure. And I was able to fit 7 Fruit Loops in the one cereal bowl bath bomb. So I was able to get one of each color, and then I just had to pick a random color to duplicate. But there is our Fruit Loop cereal bath bombs. can see my mixture is already trying to set up on me. It's okay if it does that, just give it another little mix. Thank you guys for watching, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to comment. Thanks and have a great day.